Okay, scholars, now it's time to further our protractor skills. We've learned how to use our benchmarks to measure. We've learned how to use our protractors to measure. Now we have to draw them. So I almost think that drawing them is easier than measuring them, because there's a much less likely chance that we measure from the wrong side. So most protractors have a nice smooth edge on one side. That's what we're going to start to use. So I draw a nice straight line, and we're going to be drawing this 50-degree angle. So I draw a nice straight line, and then depending on what side I'd like to measure from, I'll put where my vertex would be. So since I went this way, there's lots of room. I think I'll put my vertex right here. So this is the point that the arms pivot on, like the center of a clock. So both arms are going to start right here, or both rays. Now, very important that we put that mark there to begin with. So we've done nothing more than have a straight line, and we put a dot on it. And we need that dot because we have to put the center of our protractor on that dot. So once we do that, that's step one. Now you'll notice, like in the last video, the 0 is not quite on our line, our array. So we have to make sure that our dot is in the middle and our 0 is right on our line. Since we're measuring from this side, that means that the angle is moving up from here. So we start at 0 here to count up to the 50 that we're trying to measure. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 50 matches up perfectly with 130. So I follow that line up and I put a little dot there. So that's where my ray passes through 50. So in order to draw a good angle, I have to use a straight edge and pass this line right down to my vertex. So you'll notice I actually have two angles here. I have this one and this one. This is the one we intended to measure or to draw, so we always indicate it with an arc. Okay, that's 50 degrees. That's an acute angle. So let's try one that's a little bit bigger. And I will show you a common mistake that a lot of students make while we're making this angle as well. So I start out the same way, start out with my line. I'm going to pick my vertex to be in the middle of this one, just because this is where you'll see some students make the mistake. Now I'm going to measure my angle leaving from this direction, going up this way. And I have to go 120 degrees. So first thing, I got my crosshairs right on my vertex and my 0 right on my ray. Remember, we're going from this side up now, so I start on my 0. And we're trying to draw a 120-degree angle, so I go all the way around 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, past 90 to 120, I put a dot. I remove my protractor, and then connect the dots. Now, mistake one, somebody would leave that as complete. Me as the teacher trying to determine whether you understand what you're doing or not, I don't know if you went this way or you went this way. So a lot of times the mistakes that I see students make, they will do everything up to here correctly and they'll mark the wrong side. So that's where your benchmarks come in. Your handy dandy paper. If you mark this side as 120, that's less than 90. So this is the really, really important part that you have to understand. If we go this way, we're past 90, so it would make sense that this angle is the 120. Okay? So you're going to use your protractors. I'll be around to help if you need it. This is drawing angles. This is the simplest form that I could show you. There's complementary angles. We can talk about that later. But for now, get your protractors out. Make sure you use a straight edge, please. I don't want to see angles that look like this. That's not an angle. That is a little seagull flying across the harbor or something. I want straight, nice, crisp lines in order to see your angles, and they're easier to measure that way.